Absolutely. I was in a meeting with my chief whip just discussing the rollout for Sona this year, and our phones both went off simultaneously. And at first, I didn't believe it. I thought, oh, this is just another one of these fake news things. And then the presidency statement landed, and we both just stopped doing what we were doing, and just really it was a moment of great sadness. And you see the numbers like you've just seen on your news bulletin, 647. But when it's somebody like Jackson Mthembu, it really touches home, and it just shows how vulnerable everybody is. This virus doesn't discriminate.
Absolutely. We were discussing it earlier as well. If you haven't been taking it seriously yet, we know, and we get the news every single day confirming it, that no one is immune from this virus.
No, that's correct. It really doesn't discriminate. And someone like Jackson Mthembu, who's a giant in the political arena, who's been at the forefront of government efforts to try and combat COVID-19, himself has now succumbed to this. And really a major blow for not only the ANC, but for South Africa. It's a loss that we need to feel as South Africans, because this is a bridge builder. This is somebody who always put South Africa first, sometimes ahead of his own party. And a major loss. South Africa needs Jackson Mthembu now more than ever before, and we've lost him.
Our condolences, of course, go out to his family and his loved ones. His family having had the devastation of losing Jackson Mthembu's daughter in 2019, and now again being hit by a loss of this kind of magnitude.
Yeah. Look, I think that Jackson, battled a lot of things in his life, and I think that's one of the reasons why he was such an empathetic person, having been through some really difficult times. He nearly died in a hijacking, an attack. He lost his daughter. He had various personal struggles, and he was able to overcome and get through these with a ready smile. And I think that's what underlay his deep compassion for others. That's why he didn't matter whether you're a member of the opposition or a member of his own party. If you were going through a tough time, we seek you out and let you know it was going to be all right.
Yeah. We as journalists have so many stories about how we were able to have fights with him live on television in the background, asking him all of the hard questions, and yet his attitude towards the media never changed. His attitude towards individual journalists never changed. He was the same whether we had fought the previous day or not. And I'm sure as someone who worked across the aisle from him as chief whip, both of you in those positions, your time overlapping, you must feel much of the same.
Well, I used to joke with him that I spend more time with him than I do with my wife. And it really was true. Spending time in Parliament, Chief Whip's Forum programming, Rules Committee, in the House, etc. And for me, I'll always remember his most potent weapon, which was his devastating sense of humor, which he would always deploy to great effect. We would have some really tense meetings around Parliament, and it was a difficult time for Parliament when we were both chief whips, but he was always able to disarm the room with a joke. The room would collapse into laughter, and we'd be able to then move forward and find a solution. And I think that was one of his big strengths. He had a real talent for bringing people together and finding consensus. And South Africa needs bridge builders more than ever before, and lost a big.
Yeah. In fact, so many people we've spoken to as well in the political sphere talking about him having quite a sort of naughty sense of humor. One of our guests yesterday saying most of the things he can't repeat on national television.
Well, I don't want to give too many secrets away, but I would certainly concur with that. But devastatingly big heart and a big sense of humor. And it's really going to be missed.
Yeah.
It's very, politics is often typified by a clash and tension and conflict. That's not how Jackson worked. Jackson worked really hard behind the scenes to try and bring people on board and to get them moving towards a common set of objectives. A place like Parliament cannot work unless there's a high degree of cooperation among certainly the bigger parties. And he always sought that out. look, I made some concessions to him. But he was always, if you were able to come and put a better argument on the table, he would be prepared to listen.
John, thanks so much for coming on to our show and giving us your sentiments. We're all still in such shock at the passing of Jackson Mthembu. Our condolences to you as well and your party as you join the rest of South Africa in mourning his passing.